I have no recollection what my controls are. Right, so my idea was, now that I've spent 5 minutes faffing about in menus, my idea was to revisit Halo in order before the launch of Infinite in December. I don't know whether I'll get through them all by then, but I thought it'd be worth checking out. And the question is, do I have a campaign I can do? Okay, I've done Heroic before. Because I was thinking of doing Heroic, but if Normal still needs clearing, I might as well just do Normal. Just so it's another one cleared and done. Will mean it's a bit easier. Will mean that I will have to go through the look inversion tutorial again, annoyingly. But that's fine, we can live with that. Oh, I wanted to check the volume options, because this menu seems very quiet. Game volume. I don't know why they were set to that. I must have been doing something while I had this open at some point. I wanted to be able to hear something else. Okay. While this menu starts, I'm just going to be a pedantic dick. I'm going to go get the original manual for Halo 1 on the Xbox. I've got the Xbox version across on my shelf. So I want to check something about the lore.
Cortana, all I need to know is, did we lose them?
I think we both know the answer to that.
We made a blind jump. How did they...
Get here first? The Covenant ships have always been faster. As for tracking us all the way from Reach, at light speed my maneuvering options were limited.
We were running dark, yes?
Until we decelerated, no one could have missed the hole we tore in subspace. They were waiting for us on the far side of the planet.
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now, nothing serious. But I've isolated
I understand that the most
CCS
recent
class
patches for
battleships,
Master Chief
making 3
Collection
capital ships per group.
make
about 90
this
seconds
version of the
they'll be
game
all
closer
over
to the Xbox version. They've
Well, that's
restored a
it.
lot of the stuff that got broken
Bring
by
the
the
ship
Gearbox
back up to
PC
Combat
port.
Alert Alpha. I want everyone at their stations.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone. And Cortana. Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
Attention, all combat personnel. Please report to your action stations. Platoon, secure airlocks on deck 11. 14th platoon rendezvous with 22nd Tactical at Bulkhead Charlie 14.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
Here's the first example of Johnson giving a speech that's different depending on what difficulty you're playing on.
Once again, it is our job to finish what the fly force started. We are leaving this ship, platoon, and engaging the Covenant on solid ground. When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spine and toss them away, laughing. Am I right, Marines? Sir, yes, sir. Damn right I am. Now move it out. Double time.
Attention all personnel. We are
Although Johnson is not a named character in this game, nor is he especially important. Obviously, he's got a unique voice actor, and he's literally
See Covenant up close. This is gonna be your lucky day.
He's literally the only black character in this game. But he is just a bog standard marine. Like, the first time you encounter him in game, you can literally shoot him in the head. And in fact, that's what the speedrun does, because otherwise you have to wait through his dialogue.
He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5!
Tube shows green. Cycle complete.
I'm glad this is running a lot smoother. It was really bothering me that Outer Wilds was not capturing smoothly. That must have been an issue just with that game or Unity or something. Because this has also got an uncapped frame rate, and if my stream previews anything to go by, it's capturing fine. Like, obviously the capture's only going out at 60, but...
Vital signs look normal. No freezer burn. Okay, sir. Go ahead and climb out of the cryo tube.
Do a mouse and keyboard for this one, just because if you're playing the PC version Master Collection, it is just a lot better.
I gave you a double dose of the wake-up stim. Take a quick walk around the cryo bay and join me at the optical diagnostic station when you're ready.
You can sneak back into there. Is it tab that... Oh, there we go. Oh, it's so overdone. Yeah, so anyone who doesn't know, if you're playing the Master Chief Collection version or the Anniversary Edition version
Sir,
on
so
360, yeah, shush, I'm explaining stuff to my 0 viewers. They added in a remastered graphics mode, but they kind of break the atmosphere of the game in many ways. The other problem is it's not so... I mean, you can kind of see it here. So they don't actually adhere to the collision geometry precisely. So in this room it's not a problem, but there are parts of the game where the remastered graphics just don't line up to the collision of the original game. And because it's just running on top of the original game, the collision of the original game is what matters. So you can just end up having shots that you fire that just hit a tree that doesn't exist. And that's it's worse in the library, where there's just a wall that they've rendered too far forward, so you can just walk behind it. And in the remastered version, it's just a void behind it.
Just look at each of the flashing panels to target them. When you lock on, it'll change color. Okay, that looks good.
Right, so this is a cute way of checking whether you want normal look or inverted look.
Try targeting the flashing lights again.
And they do this for the later games, but they get better.
Try looking up and down again, please. Do you want me to leave it like that?
They get better at this. So for Halo 1, you have to go through this whole section every time you play if you're playing on easy or normal difficulty. If you're playing on heroic or legendary, it just skips it and you go straight into the game. In Halo 2, they sectioned this out to a separate level that only exists for that purpose and also to establish the plot. So they do have to go through it in the speedrun, unfortunately, but for casual replays, you can just skip over it.
Okay, bring his energy shields
Picky
online,
bastard.
please.
Halo 3 in ODST,
Okay,
I
sir,
think
bring them down to
Reach.
test the automatic recharge.
So Halo 3 and ODST, they have it, but it only runs it the first time you play through the game. Once you've got a profile on the game, it just locks in when it's done, and that's it. It never takes you back through that section. And then on Reach, they just do it diegetically, where it's you're in a craft, and at first it gives you something you need to look up towards, and then they give you something you have to look down towards, and it just, at that point, both up and down the stick will make you look up, and then up and down the stick will make you look down, and so long as you do a consistent one and then the other, it just locks that in as your looking options.
This way.
Yep, he gets exploded. No grenades, okay. I need to remember what button's what. What did I set my flashlight button to be? A weapon. I'm sure I'll find out when the tutorial happens. So despite the fact that there are dudes here with weapons, there is no way to get a weapon as far as I know in this section of the level. There's an elite. Hello. So the elites are kind of like the enemies that are meant to be most equivalent to you as a player. They have energy shields. They're the most tactically capable of all the Covenant enemies in terms of their AI. One thing, so I don't want to. So I followed the Halo lore quite closely back prior to the franchise being handed over to 343. I don't want to lean on that knowledge too much because it's a bit dry. Yeah, I know. I'm talking to the stream. Fuck off. Actually, while we're here, so this board just has few little jokes. The remastered version has different jokes. I'm pretty sure one of these had a troll face meme on it somewhere. Clearly, it's not this one. What was I saying? Yeah, so one of the things that comes out up in the lore, if you go by the books, is that prior to this, the Spartans had practically no interaction with elites whatsoever. It's wild, really, if you take it as written. Right, we will spend more time looking around this cockpit before we really drive into the level, but at the end of this cutscene, I'm going to try and run out of this room as quickly as possible just to show off a glitch if I can manage it.
With those odds, I'm content with 3. Make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
Okay, the audio balance on the dialogue versus the music is completely busted.
I guess an antimatter charge.
Ma'am, fire control for the main cannon is offline.
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
All right, then. I'm initiating Cold Protocol Article 2. We're abandoning the Autumn. That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking. The object we found, I'm going to try and land the Autumn on it.
With all due respect, sir, this war has enough dead heroes.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but it's not up to me. Protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship. Lock in a selection of emergency landing zones, upload them to my neural lace, and then sort yourself for a heart transfer.
Aye, aye, sir.
Which is where you come in, Chief. Get Cortana off this ship. Keep her safe from the enemy. If they capture her, they'll learn everything. Force deployment, weapons research, Earth.
I understand.
The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Excellent work, Cortana. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yank me.
Good luck, Master Chief.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
I don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
Right, well that's a lie even if you don't glitch this section. Because it does just pop up and... Okay, I didn't manage the glitch, so we'll come back. So there's a glitch where if you manage to get out of that room before the checkpoint triggers, you don't pull up this pistol, and then you can pick up 2 other weapons, and then you're... Okay, so that's my melee, and that's my zoom, okay. You can pick up 2 other weapons, and then you're just... You can then go back through that trigger that gives you the pistol, and then you can just carry 3 weapons for the rest of the level. It's the only point in the game where you can do that as far as I know. So one thing I want to point out here, they make a big deal in... Yeah, shut up. They make a big deal in the next level of Cortana, pointing out like, oh, they call it Halo. The Covenant call this thing Halo. Like, well, it says it right there. You clearly already know that. Though, oh no, that is still in the remastered version. I thought they took that out of the remastered version to hide that little fucking problem. Also, his name badge is wrong. It just says, hello, my name Keys. Also, it always bothered me that they didn't... Like, I get that they couldn't model a full-size Halo ring here, that's fine. I wish they'd do something to tie it to your relative position, because with the way the perspective works, it's so obvious that it's just, like, a couple of meters away from us. It's not far away at all. Since I got a checkpoint, we'll just show off this. If you... kill someone, kill the thing, these marines spawn, and these marines are invincible. No matter how much damage you do to them, they will never die. Why we aren't sending these guys out on missions, I don't know. There's no particular reason to do that, it's just interesting. Okay. So the grunts don't drop any weapons, and then you get an assault rifle. So if anyone doesn't know the way weapons work in this game, the pistol is completely fucking broken. The pistol is so fucking powerful. It's got a zoom function, so you can kind of use it as a sniper rifle as well. The assault rifle is pretty much crap. The only thing it's got going for it is the fact that it's got a massive clip. It's like 60 rounds to a clip. But it does so little damage. You've effectively got to empty an entire clip into someone to make it worth doing anything with it. So, when you're fighting Covenant, you're usually better off carrying a plasma pistol. So there's two Covenant weapons that are kind of commonly seen. There's a plasma rifle, and there's a plasma pistol. They both have a fixed amount of energy. You can't refill them, you have to replace them. And they both overheat if you use them too much, right? But the advantage of the plasma weapons is that they are more effective at taking out an enemy's shield. If you punch an enemy from behind, by the way, it's always an instant kill.
Wow, there he is.
So on normal difficulty, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of just brute force the enemy shields no matter what you're doing. And it doesn't really matter, but on... yeah, so his shield popped really quickly there, as you can see. On the high difficulties, you really need to be paying attention to what weapons you're picking. You'll notice I did a charge shot there as well. Charge shots that successfully hit always just wipe out the shield in one go. These are overshields. These give you triple the shield charge, but it doesn't recharge. And does it gradually decay in this game? I don't think it does. One of the games it also gradually decays when it's not being used. What is my flashlight button? It's a zoom button. Hold on. I want to see what my flashlight button is. 4. Okay. So this first level, Pillar of Autumn, it's broadly a tutorial level, but it's not very interesting. It's a series of grey tunnels. And the remastered version's not much better. So another thing I'll note is that in on normal difficulty, you don't get grenades in this level until really late into the level when it tutorializes them for you. In heroic or legendary difficulty, you can get grenades immediately. The moment you start encountering enemies, they can drop grenades. The grunts are just kind of fodder enemies. They're only really a threat in large numbers. They're there to kind of support the elites, primarily. And they do actually have AI behaviors where if you kill an elite that's accompanying a bunch of grunts, the grunts can panic and just flee. They do actually develop that behavior even more in later games. But that's kind of the core of it, just can get another plasma pistol, bit more charge, bit more juice. Yeah, so personally I don't find the Pillar of Autumn the greatest opening level in the world. It does a decent job of teaching the mechanics, but I think of the original trilogy, Halo 3 probably does opening level best, sorry. Health kit. Yeah, so the way health works in this game, you have both a shield and
On the landing above us.
health. Oops. So I don't necessarily think this is the first game to do regenerating health, but it was certainly one of the early examples of it.
Nailed him! Yeah, hombre! Ho! I'm going in!
And certainly one of the early games that popularised it. Likewise, it's one of the first games that had limited weapon selections. Prior to this, most shooters did the Doom thing, where every weapon you get just goes into an endless fucking bag. This guy's not going down. There we go. There we go.
This is the captain. Prepare to abandon ship. Combat teams, repel borders until...
Yeah, so this game originally came out in 2001. In fact, it came out, I want to guess, September 26, 2001, which would be like a week ago. 20 years and a week.
The Covenant are destroying the life pods. They really don't want us on their own.
Which is crazy to think
Blast
about.
door closing. We have to use the ship's maintenance access ways. Follow the nav point. It will lead you to an opening.
Ah, waypoints. Right, so we get these tunnels. How are these looking remastered? Inoffensive.
I'm detecting Covenant movement outside the access ways. Activating motion tracker. Let's find a safe exit.
Oh, I always forget to tutorialize the motion tracker as well. So the motion tracker is something... I'm assuming most people who still play Master Chief Collection online now do use the motion tracker, but back in the day, so few people actually relied on it. It was so enjoyable just sneaking up on people. Oh, hold on, my phone's ringing. 1 second. Right, I'm back at last. Sorry for taking so long about that. Let's crack on.
Personnel, get in the lifeboat.
I am struggling to get headshots on these elites.
It looks like the Covenant wanted to catch you next.
They do put a bit more information on the remastered version. If you come on to this side, so on the normal version there's just a blank wall here and just a repeat of the diagram you got on this one. In this version you get some information about Linda, who is one of the surviving Spartans who is on board as of the end of I think First Strike is where she's in there, and I'm pretty sure Linda is one of the members of Spartan Blue Team in Halo 5 as well. Right, so we're in the ending section now. There's a few places you can come out here, but it's whether you want to flank the enemy or be part of the main firing line. We still haven't picked up any grenades yet. Yeah, so on normal difficulty, you can be really kind of blasé about how you do. Okay, we're finally got grenades. This is where you actually get given grenades, and there's just a massive stack of them just hanging around in a pile.
There's one last lifeboat.
That
Quickly,
kill him?
get aboard before it launches. Now would be a very good time to leave.
Punch it.
So, the reason I wanted to check the instruction manual at the start of the stream was because in the Halo lore there is something called the Cole Protocol, which is effectively the rules given to the Marines regarding how to safeguard information regarding the location of Earth. I wanted to make sure I was right in remembering that that's established as part of this game. I mean, Keys mentioned it earlier on. But, oh, by the way, the Autumn is not accelerating. The Autumn is too large a piece of geometry for them to have moved around on the original Xbox hardware, that it caused a massive slowdown. So that's just camera trickery. That's just the camera moving around to make it look like the Autumn's moving. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so Cole Protocol. It's to safeguard the location of Earth and whatnot. And it is established both in the dialogue in this game and also in the instruction manual. Now, part of what the Cole Protocol dictates is that you need to deny, you have to do asset denial on anything that could lead to the location of Earth, be that data, so like machines or stuff like that, navigational data, or personnel. Now, the reason why I have an issue with
Chief?
Captain Keyes is
Chief, can you hear
because
me?
he chooses willingly
Are you alright?
to crash land the ship.
Yeah, there's
Now, he's probably
nothing.
eliminated the intelligence from the ship, and that's fine. But then he gets captured, and he should not have allowed himself to get captured. He should have committed suicide before he got captured, according to the rules of engagement. So by the end of the game, they mark him out to be a hero. Well, not the end of this game, but the start of Halo 2, they do. Whereas in reality, by the book, he should be court-martialed. Okay, so there's a dropship there. Well, these Banshees also attack you. You can kind of just ignore these on the lower difficulties. On the high difficulties, they can be a real pain in the arse. On the lower difficulties, they will just stop bothering you once you get far enough along. Or you can just shoot them with your pistol until they blow up. That's also valid. I think there is a way to steal them, but it's not easy. So in this game, there are... the Covenant vehicles can be destroyed. The human vehicles cannot. The human vehicles are indestructible for some reason. But when they're destroyed, it's very difficult to kill a Covenant in a vehicle and not also destroy the vehicle, if that makes sense. Another thing to note is you never carry your weapons through from one level to another, which is kind of a shame. Halo 2 does allow you to do that. I think Halo 3... I think it doesn't.
To see if there are any survivors.
I don't think Halo 3 has any levels that... Oh wait. No, I was going to say I don't think Halo 3 has any levels that directly continue one into the other, but there is... Let's show this off. There is Tavo Highway. So this weapon is the Needler, and that's how it works. You fire off a bunch of needles. If enough of them get lodged in your enemy, then it explodes and it's effectively instant kill.
I thought we were in real trouble.
It's a mess, sir. We're scattered all over this valley. We called for evac, but until you showed up, I thought we were cooked.
Don't worry, Sergeant. We'll stay here until evac arrives.
Heads up! I got a Covenant dropship heading in! Over here!
Right, this section is rather tedious if you play it as intended. You just have to hang around this area, and there's multiple waves of dropships that come in, and you just have to wipe out all the enemies. We're also going to get a first introduction to Jackals here, I think. Yeah, there they are. So Jackals are these guys with shields. These Jackals are much more inclined to fire charged plasma pistol shots at you than anything else is. The shields can be broken with a charged pistol shot. Plasma pistol shot, sorry, or with... just enough force actually will just eventually break them. In this game they don't massively disassociate themselves from just the grunts. They're slightly more awkward like grunts are practically completely defenseless. You know, a headshot and a grunt's gone. Whereas the Jackals at least have the shielding. And one of the things that is kind of like the core gameplay loop of this game, at least for standard on foot combat, is kind of you've got a core loop where it's they kind of expect you to like throw a grenade into like a group of enemies to kind of scatter them and get an initial hit off. Then kind of work your way in with a weapon and like deal some damage on approach, and then once they're in melee range, punch them and, you know, kind of clean up that way. That's kind of the core gameplay loop they go in. It works pretty well for Halo 1. That when they introduce dual wielding in Halo 2, they kind of break it. I'm not going to go too much into that while we're playing Halo 1, but once Halo 2 rolls around, it just doesn't really work anymore for, well, you can ignore dual wielding and it works fine, but dual wielding just completely... That's the only problem with playing mouse and keyboard, is that you don't have any vibrations. You're relying solely on the beeping sound to know that you're near death. That was a case of a jackal having a charge shot at me. Now there is a slight gap in the edge of their shield. So you can kind of bump them and make them drop their shield. There's a bunch of ammo up here.
We need transportation to the command shuttle.
See if I can get a better part of this one.
Look, more lifeboats. They're coming in fast. If those lifeboats make it down, the Covenant are going to be right on top of them.
Crowhammer, we need you to disengage your warthog. The Master Chief and I are going to see if we can save some soldiers. Roger, Cortana. Okay, Charlie.
Yeah, I think did they change the time of day here slightly? They made it more clearly the evening.
That's affirmative. Echo 419 staying on station. Crowhammer out.
Okay, so here's our first vehicle section.
Can you spare a few men?
All right, ladies. Volunteers step up on the double. Rest of you get to the dropship.
Sure thing.
Yeah, so vehicles were kind of a new thing in first-person shooters with this game, relatively speaking. The way they decided to make it work for console controls is that the vehicle, forward for a vehicle is always where your camera's pointing. But steer, you turn the camera towards where you want to go and the game steers for you.
Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere. I've hacked into the Covenant battle network. They're actually broadcasting tactical data on unencrypted channels. We should show them who they're dealing with. Master Chief, I'm going to use your suit's transcom system to monitor their chatter.
So just something I will show off here. I'm not going to commit to finding all of these. If we get off here and look in this corner, so in normal version of the game there's nothing here. If you go into remastered, there's this terminal here. So these are something they added in. They're in some of the later games and they kind of stem from Marathon, which was a earlier Bungie game that's kind of Halo shares a lot of common ancestry with. And they all end up opening up little like pre-rendered videos that all are lore related. So we'll pull this one up.
I am experiencing such a mixture of anticipation and dread. All preparations are complete for my installation. In accordance with the final dictum of the Ecumene Council, I have released myself of all remaining connections to my former station. This was not difficult. What was could never be again. We had seen to that quite thoroughly. Prior to my final journey through the Great Portal, a gathering of my fellow monitors was convened upon the Lightworkers' Cratch to distribute the final index collection. It was most unusual to have this vessel of rebirth play host to such an event. Even though Lightworker ships were the only ones still allowed slip-space permissions. Lightworkers were responsible for getting us to our places on the active facilities of the array.
Love the white text subtitles against a bright background.
One entirely unsatisfactory breakdown remained. We had no contact with the domain. The history of all Forerunners was now lost to us. We relied upon the permanence of the domain to preserve our record of the events that led to this point. But without that record, would future civilizations know anything about us? Or only of our weapons? My fellow monitor, 049 Adject Testament, had only one comment on this before we went our separate ways.
We deserve to be forgotten.
Perhaps. Perhaps. But now, the portal opens, and through it, the familiar shape awaits. Halo. Home.
I forget what these symbols lead to. I think there's like an ARG or something that you can do with those. Long story short, these videos, they don't make any sense if you are playing this for the first time. They lean on, first of all, your knowledge of the later games that had been released prior to this coming out. So for instance, there you saw a Forerunner facility called the Ark. Now the fact that I even used the word Forerunner is a spoiler for where we are in the game so far, right? And the fact that we saw Guilty Spark, who was that blue orb dude, the monitor, is a spoiler for this point in the game. So first of all, it relies on you knowing stuff about that, and then second of all, they're talking about stuff like the domain and things like that that just you wouldn't know about at this point in the game. So, right, there's a little corridor down there that you're meant to go up, and then you fight an invisible elite, but you can just park your car there and then come up this way and just bypass it. It's fine. Those Marines will hold their own for a minute. And that activates the bridge, which for some reason I always think there's a cutscene associated with activating that bridge, and then it never triggers, and I remember, right, there isn't a cutscene. Yeah, these guys held their own for a bit. This is another room where the atmosphere is completely lost on the remastered, by the way. So if you look, it's kind of dark, kind of difficult to see. Remastered. Oh, look how bright it is. Look how well illuminated this room is. Original, nope, very dingy, very moody. Remastered, bright as you like. So this is what this is the kind of thing people complain about when they say about remastered just failing to reflect the atmosphere of the original game.
There's new traffic on the Covenant battle network. A lot more crew made it off the Autumn than I had predicted. The captain really gave them hell. If we can find Captain Keyes and the other survivors, we have a chance to coordinate an effective resistance.
So my understanding of the development of this game is that it was kind of a shit show until pretty late in development. You go through some of the... So Bungie haven't released an awful lot of footage of what came before this game released, but what they have released, they show a bunch of prototypes, and pretty much this thing genre hopped about 3 times. Like, originally it was meant to be a real-time strategy game, similar to their... I think Bungie had worked on a fantasy-style real-time strategy game. I forget what that was.
Maybe they took cover
I do remember that was the game that had the bug, which was when you uninstalled it, it actually just completely formatted your hard drive. So they had to spend an awful lot of money, because this was before online patches were ubiquitous. It cost them an awful lot of money to fix it, which is part of the reason why they then ended up taking the deal to get bought out by Microsoft, because hey, we need that money because we've just spent all our money dealing with the technical problem we
should search
have
the
made.
interior of those structures before we leave.
But yeah, so Halo started out as a real-time strategy. Then I spent a bit of time as a third-person shooter, and then finally kind of became a third-person shooter. But as a result of that, so there's a lot of things about this game that do feel a bit, we stuck together what worked, but I mean, the reason I brought this up is because there is some nice attention to detail for a game that came out in 2001. Like, there's the fact that when you're steering and you've got a guy on the gunner seat, he actually like leans his weight into the corners to try and stabilize himself and stuff like that. It's a really minor touch. I'm sure that on a technical level it wasn't that hard to implement, but I don't know, it's just a nice touch.
I'll find the bastard.
Makes the characters feel a bit more existing in the world.
Is that the best you can do? I'm a cowardly fool.
Although the fact that this game has history as an RTS originally, conceptually, is relevant into what I think are some of the worse enemies. Not worst, but worse enemies that appear later in the game. Because on paper, in an RTS setting, those enemies seem like a really good idea. They seem like an interesting archetype to have to fight against in a campaign. In actuality, in Halo Wars, that proves to be true. But
Echo 419 to Cortana, come in.
We read you, Echo 419. We have survivors and need immediate dust-off.
Roger, Cortana. On my way. I've spotted additional lifeboats in your area. One near a rock slide.
can you not be behind me, please?
Another near the
Turn
head
back
of the
up.
river. Hard to see from my altitude, but it looks like there are more survivors. Acknowledged. We're on our way.
What do you mean I'm a traitor? You're the fuckers who are hanging out where I'm trying to fucking drive, you stupid wankers. I don't know whether that's going to have made all of the Marines who remain level hostile, or whether it's localized to there. Come on.
There are some Marines hiding in the hills above the structure.
Yeah, so Halo 1 is interesting in that it's kind of the game that's most willing to give you relatively open-ended objectives compared to anything else in the franchise. I mean, you saw when I was playing Halo 5, everything's kind of linear. It's obviously taking its cues from Call of Duty nowadays, but it's not common. It only really shows up in 2 levels in Halo 1, and that's it. But nevertheless, there is this notion that, okay, actually you don't have to always be on a single track. Right, you guys hostile.
Keeping my eye on you, Palmer. You're a sight for sore eyes, Chief. We're in a bad way. We've got wounded here.
I'll call in a dropship to pick them up.
Oh, how was that not an assassination? Alright, yeah, you can get a sniper rifle in this level. You have to go either kill the Marine who's got it or wait for hope that he gets killed naturally if you don't want to be, you know, attacked. But I don't know whether I want to end the stream on this level. Obviously that phone call took a lot... Oh, I'm dead. That phone call took a lot longer than I probably intended for it to do. Not, you know, not that that's an issue. It was the missus, so that's fine. But, also... It's getting late, and the next level is a bit of a slog. It's also, annoyingly, the only level in the game where it's impossible to get a pistol. I haven't shown off plasma grenades yet. There we go. So plasma grenades are sticky grenades. If you successfully get one on an enemy, it sticks to them and it's a guaranteed kill.
Let's make sure there are no Covenant hiding in the area.
I've never seen a weapon do that before.
Echo 419 to Cortana. Foehammer's on station and ready for another pickup. Affirmative, Foehammer. We're ready for dust-off. Approach when ready. We're going to look for the last lifeboat, Echo 419. Good luck.
So one thing that occurs in this game as well, doesn't work in multiplayer, but in single player, any grenades dropped by enemies, if they are in the vicinity of an explosion, they can chain reaction into another explosion. And if anyone on the internet in the oh, nobody wants to be on the gunner. Yeah, if anyone was on the internet in the early thousands is familiar with the Warthog jump video, that's how that worked. Effectively, if a physics object gets hit by another explosion once it's already been sent airborne by first explosion, for whatever reason, it gets absolutely punted. So the trick was to build up a stash of grenades underneath a vehicle like the Warthog, which is this Jeep, I don't know if I've specified that, and then detonate it and send the Warthog flying. This was easier done in co-op because one player could gather grenades and then allow themselves to get killed in front of a parked vehicle, which would cause them to drop their stash of grenades.
We can link up with the rest of the survivors. Survivors detected. Marines are concealed in those rocks.
Take that! More over here!
I see him. There's no beacon.
So AI characters, both human and Covenant, do get infinite ammo for their weapons. So having someone with like a sniper rifle is actually quite a powerful combination. I'm going to go up and talk to them. I think I do. Unfortunately, in this game at least, there's no way to change the weapon that people are holding. In the later games, you can swap your weapon with whatever they're carrying. Oh, there's another dropship coming in, I think. Yep, over there. Yeah, you can swap your weapon with them, so if you want them to have a specific weapon, you can do. Equally, if they've got a weapon that you want, you can just give them trash and run off with the gun that they're holding. Oh, there is a sniper rifle down there as well, so you can get it legitimately as soon as you get to this area. Again, we will show off the sniper rifle. You get one at the start of the next mission anyway, so... Yeah, that's kind of a limiting factor of Halo 1, is there a lot of kind of where you spend your time. There's a lot of places where you're just enclosed in arenas, either on foot or on a vehicle, and just having to fight your way through waves of enemies. It's a pretty common design decision that they make.
Touchdown on a desert plateau roughly 300 kilometers upspin.
Right, I want to say, if you park this close enough that you can see the cutscene, it's really apparent that the Marines that are still in the Warthog just don't get out, they're just left behind. Oh no, they do get out. Okay, so we leave the vehicle, but the Marines come. I mean, it seems like a waste to leave the vehicle here, but you know, at least we're not abandoning dudes.
Approximately 300 meters above the other end of this plateau.
So how do we get inside the ship if it's in the air? The Corps issued me a rifle, not wings.
There's a gravity lift that varies troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. That's our ticket in.
Once we get inside the ship, I should be able to lock on to the tracking signal from Captain Key's neural implants.
Let's go! Hit up a range. Go, go, go! The Corps ain't paying us by the hour.
Stick to the higher ground to the right. Should be able to recon the Covenant position without being spotted. I've detected Covenant stationary guns near the next pass. I recommend using your sniper rifle to take out the gunners while I call for Marine support.
Get ready to move in to support us, Sergeant. The Master Chief is going to covertly take out as many of the Covenant as he can. Don't open fire until you hear the enemy return fire on us. That should let us keep the element of surprise.
Right, I'm going to call it there. I know in actuality when you extract the time that I was on the phone, this has been quite a short stream, but it's already 10:30. I don't love this level anyway, so we'll pick up from here another time. We've made a start at least. We're like, what, a fifth of the way through the game, I think? I'm just curious to know what challenges I need to do. I mean, I was on PvE, so what have we got? Enemies with sniping weapons. Oh, so that was just because that dude in my car had a sniper rifle. Okay, fine. What's the seasonal ones? Life slice and keep killer challenges. It's okay. Life slice. 343 points for the energy sword. The campaign kills in Oroka Heart are worth 1. Spartan kills in multiplayer are worth 10. 500 high ranking elites in campaign or Spartan Ops missions. Normal or harder. 343 assassination kills in campaign, you must be heroic or harder. 7 night missions in campaign Oroka Harder. 500 headshots in matchmade games, 15 ranked matchmade games in Halo 4. Okay. And that's just to unlock cosmetics that they make available even after the challenges run out anyway, so. That's one thing they're good about with Master Chief Collection is they've taken on board that people don't like FOMO tactics, so. Right, well, that was only a short stream. Like I said, when I sort out the highlight, I'll clip out my need to log into Xbox Live at the beginning and my phone call in the middle, but yeah, again, we'll try and do a longer stream next time we pick this up. Alright. Call it a day.